Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint Fabrication. Well, it's a chilly one in the shop today, but we're going to get right back to Project Ruby and try to get that oil can dent out. Now, I talked about using the TIG welder and doing some other stuff. One of my subscribers recommended using the Harbor Freight stud gun to get the oil can out. So I've been meaning to buy one. I've been waiting for it to go on sale. Of course, it never did. And the coupons, they don't work on welders, so I just went ahead and bit the bullet and picked one up. And I've done a little bit of testing with it, and we'll get to that in a minute. I've got it right here. But before we do that, a lot of you guys said you liked the spreadsheet updates, and so we're going to go ahead and do that again right now because I just bought a bunch more stuff from OPGI, and it came in. So let's go ahead and get that updated, and then we'll get back on this quarter panel. Okay guys, we've got the spreadsheet open here, and you'll notice right off the bat that this number has jumped considerably than just the last video. So a few of the cells weren't totaling onto the body parts, so my friend Cindy took care of that, fixed it for me. She's a genius on spreadsheets. So we got that worked out, and it did add to the total. And then I went ahead and ordered some stuff. So OPGI was running a year-end deal where if you ordered over, $550 worth of stuff, you got free shipping on just about anything. So I went ahead and ordered some stuff that I knew I needed. I kind of put it in my wish list on there, and I was waiting for some sort of sale. And so it showed up, so I jumped on it. So if you see right here, I bought a hinge detent repair kit, super cheap, $9. And that's for the part that keeps the door open, that spring-loaded part over there. Well, the roller wears out. So then I got the hinge repair kit, which is basically bushings and pins. I got the hinges are ready to go in to get dipped to get the rust off of them. The grill bezels, mine that sit inside the grill there, they're plastic, and mine are broken and warped. So I got those. They were $280. The parking light lenses, those were $37. The clips for the rocker moldings, they were rusted out, so I ordered that. Not all of them came in this kit, so I still have to order some more, so that's $24. The glass, quarter glass run channel, if you guys saw me putting in the power window, figuring that out, that run channel was shot, so I ordered new ones of those. Unfortunately, they're on back order. That was $184. The taillight lens gaskets are also on back order. That was $16, and I went ahead and moved the Wilwood clutch master cylinder up from chassis up to body parts. So these total changed slightly, but the paint stayed the same. This one went down a little bit when I moved that one, but we're looking so far at $5,118.74 just on body parts, and then our total is $7,495.95. So about $7,500 already spent. And I am getting some good parts on the shelf, so I'm kind of ordering it. And as you can see, OPGI, some stuff is on back order. Some stuff I really am going to need pretty soon, so hopefully it comes in. But, that's just, you got to order it early because it's just not sitting on the shelf like it used to be. All right, let's get back over to that quarter panel and see if we can get that oil can dent out. Okay, before we get after that oil can, I'll update you on what I've been doing off camera. So this area was pretty bad, and it's still not great. The inner fender well comes up right here. I can barely get my hand in here to work this, so it's been pretty challenging. Up in here, that glued-on brace is right up against this area, so I'm really having a hard time getting in there. I've got a nice shape to the whole thing. It does have some little divots in it. You can still see the ink down in a few of these. I'm not going to try to get those out. I think they're just going to get filler, but I'm going to revisit it. I kind of got burned out and frustrated with it, but it's got a nice shape to it. The body line's nice. The body line right here is pretty nice. It does dip in a little bit, but I'm having a ton of trouble. Like I said, I can barely get my hand in there, so I'm having a hard time trying to work that out. I don't want to do more damage trying to fix something that'll just take a little tiny bit of filler. So that's where we're at right there. I did work the bottom here, and I wanted to get that done before we tackled the oil can. So you guys see all this ink right here? Well, what happened was I was laying on the creeper, and I grabbed the ink bottle and I unscrewed the cap. Unfortunately, the dauber part that's sealed on there fell off, and I spilled ink all over myself and everything else. So I mopped it up with a paper towel and wiped the whole panel with it instead of wasting it. So what we did is I just worked this area right here, just right along this body line right here, just to right about here. And what I was trying to do is get this nice and straight and get this body line perfect, because it did wander up and down a little bit when this was hit, and I do believe this was hit like this, going this direction, and it shoved all the sheet metal over here. And I do believe when they took the dent out, they didn't work it from this way, that way. I bet you they worked it this way, ended up shoving more sheet metal down here. That's the only thing I can think of. But doesn't matter now. What matters is we've got this pretty straight across here. So I'm liking the way it looks. Now this, from this body line, it does roll, start rolling right away. But by me getting all this straight, I took some of that slight crown or roll out of it. So it kind of goes straight. It's flat right from here, about 3/4 of an inch. I'm not too worried about it. I may try to push it back in later, but the body line's more important to me. So we're talking a minuscule amount of body filler to just start that curve. So I'm not too worried about it. But the oil can is a big concern. So we need to take care of that. And then we also have this really bad protruding part right here that needs to be taken care of. So we're probably going to try to shrink that as well. So let's jump into the trunk, or what I call it now, my toolbox, and take a look at the setup I've got. Okay, I don't have to explain why I'm calling this my toolbox now. Everything's in here. So what I've got, as you guys recall, when I was pushing on that panel, that oil can showed itself, right? Started waving his little hands at me. So I thought, okay, what I want to do is reproduce that, but I can't hold it, work the oil can at the same time. So what I've got is a load bar in here. I've had these for years. They go, you know, in the bed of your truck to keep stuff from sliding around. And so what I did, I put a 2x4 across here. I propped it up on this side. It's not up against the quarter panel. It's up against the brace that holds the taillight housing. So, and then I put some tape on it so it doesn't fall off. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pump this handle right here, and we're going to keep pumping on it and push that panel out a little bit until that oil can comes back. So now it's back. So if I release that, that oil can will actually pop out. So now this is about where it belongs, maybe even a little strong. So what the plan is to find the perfect center of that oil can and then start working it, and then hopefully it will come out with that panel pushed out like that. So that's kind of my plan. I woke up in the middle of the night with that idea. So hopefully it works. If not, I can blame my dreams for it not working. Okay, so here's the oil can right here. I know you guys can't really see it, but that's about the center. And if you look closely, there's a lot of hammer marks on here, a lot of texture to this. I can feel it. It's really, especially here and all through here. So it's not too bad over here, and it's not too bad over here. So what we want to do is find, you know, like the apex of that oil can. And when I push on it, I can kind of find it. I think it's right here. So what I want to do is I want to kind of map out where the oil can is. Remember, this is the spot I talked about that was sticking out, kind of like bulbous. You know, it was kind of strange that it was kind of just pooched out there where everything else around it. It wasn't like a dent. It was almost like a bulge. So we're going to consider that a spot to get some heat on as well. So I'm going to go through here and I'm just going to map all this out carefully, and then we're going to move over to the and take a look at that spot welder, that stud welder, and see how I converted it over to go ahead and see if we can get this oil can out. Okay, so here's the stud gun, and it comes with this tip in it, if you guys can tell. It's in focus, but it has a hole in it, obviously, for the stud, right? So I pulled that out, and it looked a lot like the one off my spot welder. So I went ahead and pulled that one off, and it threaded right in, exact same thread, same size, everything. I just cleaned up the end here a little bit, and this is spring-loaded. So what happens is this is one of the contacts, and this copper piece right here is the other. So when you push it up against the sheet metal, it makes contact across both. And of course, the smallest area will get hot. So this is a large area, so it will stay cool. And the point of that will get hot. So that's the plan on that. So this is going to work out pretty good. I needed the stud gun anyways, and so hopefully this is going to do the trick to try to help us shrink down that oil can. Okay guys, I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but we're going to do it, and I'm going to show you everything I do, and hopefully we come out the other side with this panel doing a little bit better than it was when we started. So before I want to heat shrink this, I went ahead and put a dolly on the other side and hit this area with a slapper pretty good because it was still pretty uneven. And so what I wanted to do was smooth it out the best I can. There's still a lot of texture on here, but that texture is going to stay. I'm not going to try to make this perfect because I know it's going to need filler anyways, so it's kind of silly for me to try to make this perfect. It's just not worth it. So what I did was I took, after I got it all mapped out here, I went ahead and took the slapper, like I said, and I smoothed this out pretty good. There was a little low spot here I pushed out, and so I kind of get most of it prepped, right? Because the last thing you want to do is shrink this thing and then have to go after it with a hammer and dolly or a slapper and dolly again, and then you got to shrink it again. Then you're back and forth. We want to keep this to the minimal amount of shrinking heat going on this panel than we can. Now, back in the day, I've watched a lot of guys, a lot of body shops, and you know, just because somebody's working in a body shop or it's a body shop doesn't mean they really know what they're doing. They may have a general idea, but they may not be the best at it. They're just guys in there working, right? So, you know, I watch guys, I even saw my dad do it. He took the torch and he heated a cherry red spot, you know, and then took a big old cold wet rag and slapped that on there and instantly chilled it. By doing that, it shrank it. There's no doubt about that. But the problem is, hitting that ice cold rag on that cherry red spot of sheet metal, it also tempered it. And that's not what we want. We want the sheet metal to retain its flexibility. We're not trying to make a file or a chisel here. We're trying to make a quarter panel that can move with expansion and contraction. You're going over bumps and everything else. Last thing you want to do is make something brittle and then it could crack later or cause you more problems. So be aware of that. I'm not saying cooling it is a bad thing. Just be careful. Let that cherry drop out of that sheet metal until it's still hot, but not cherry red. Then cool it with air or a wet rag or whatever you want to do. We're not going to do any of that today. We're going to just use that stud gun and just heat. It's less than 40 degrees in the shop. This sheet metal is ice cold, so it's already pretty darn cold. It'll cool itself off. So, so the plan is I know about where the center of this is. So what I want to do is kind of go in a spiral following this map I've got here, and every time I move, go out, I'm going to move my spots a little bit farther apart. So they'll be consolidated here in the center, closer together, and then as I go out, I'm going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and hopefully that'll work. I feel like it should work, and then when we push on it, if it just wants to flex like the rest of the sheet metal and not boink in and out, then we know we're getting somewhere. So let's go ahead and grab the gun, and we're just going to do this, see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to try to watch how long I have my finger on the trigger, because since the gun is spring loaded, it's going to heat it, and it's actually going to put a bunch of little tiny dimples, which isn't such a bad thing because we're pulling some sheet metal out, right? So that may be advantageous. Like I said, it's going to get filler anyways, so I'm not too concerned about it. But I do not want to overheat it and have it push a big old, you know, dimple in there. So maybe half a second at a time. I'm not sure. We can always do it more, but it's kind of hard to do less, right? Woo! I can already see this little spot right here. It is lower already, just a tiny bit. So it's already going in considerably. It's actually doing really well. Let me swing you over and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have a hard time getting you guys a good angle, but this spot right here, just right where we hit it, it flattened out. So now it goes, it's up, then it drops down, then it's up, and then back down again. I wish I could get an angle on this thing so you guys could see it, but it's just, it is actually working. So let's get back at it. Okay, let's keep going here. We got pretty good success right here. let's work this area right here. Got to remember to take my finger off the trigger before I back the gun away. Let's check it with the straight edge. Feels like the oil can's stuck in now. So that's actually not a bad thing because I still have pressure up here. So I think when I release the pressure, that's going to come back out. I'm going to hit up here a little bit. We're going to release the pressure and see where we're at. Ugh. All right, let's release the pressure and see what happens here. Okay, the panel is flexing, not oil canning, so that's good. We are high right here if I check it with a straight edge. So what I want to do is I want to work this area down and then work this area back out to see if we can get that low spot out and see where we're at. But I'll tell you what, it didn't get super hot. We just did a bunch of little small areas and it made a huge difference right off the bat. So that thing worked like a champ. So now we just have a little more body work to do here, a little more hammering, and then see where we're at. Ugh. We're getting there. A little high right there, a little low right there. We are getting there. It's still a little high right here. A little bit of low right there, as you guys can probably see. But we're not doing too bad. Problem is, me getting my arm in there deep enough and then being able to see where to hit, it's getting a little difficult. Dave and I were talking this morning. He said, just let me know. I'll come over and hold the dolly for you while you hit. And that's what I think I need to do. I just can't get very accurate dolly placement, pushing out hard enough, and then hit. So, because these, I keep working them, but I can't get enough pressure right there and enough good smacks right here to get that to come up and that to go down. But we are looking good, and no more oil can. So, feeling really good about this. I've got a high spot down over here. I worked on this a little bit, so this is really starting to come together. Running your hand over it, it don't feel so good. But running the straight edge over it, it's looking really good. So let me clean this up a little bit, and then we'll run the straight edge on it and see where all our high and low spots are. I think I'll run a DA over it and just clean this whole area up, and then give us a better picture where we're at and how we're looking. Okay, we've got it DA'd. Let's run the straight edge over it, see if we see any shiny spots. And right off the bat, I see a few, but there's a lot of little ones, not just like one big one. So I've got a pretty good sized one right here. I know you guys probably can't see it. I'm having trouble seeing it, which is a good thing. And then a little one here and a little tiny one there, and one that goes down right through here. So those are definite little high spots, and then we still have the little low spot there. So I really need to push right here and tap on those. And what I'll do is I'll take a Sharpie and highlight those so I don't lose them, so I know right where to tap. But let me aim the camera straight down if I can, and I'll run the straight edge on it and let you guys see it. Okay, here's the area we were just working. So with that straight edge across there, I got a little low spot right there, but that's above where we were just working. So right there, I don't see any light underneath it or any gap. Got a little high spot, it rocks right here, and that's one of those shiny spots we just looked at. And then up here, we've got another one. But all in all, it's looking a lot better. So we've got a little bit more work to do on this so we can start working back towards the middle, but it's getting there little by little. Okay guys, as you can see, I got the high spots, the shiny spots from running the straight edge on it up and down a few times. So it's not looking too bad. This is a real fat one here, so that means that's getting really flattened out. These are a little more skinny, so they're a little more peaked. But all in all, I think it's looking pretty good. I'm having a lot of trouble getting these down. Like I said, it's hard for me to push and see, and I'll tell you straight up, I'm afraid of hitting this body line because I'm working up here, I can hit a little harder, but once I get down here, I get really skittish about swinging that slapper or the hammer. I'm afraid I'm gonna ding that thing and then I'm gonna be in big trouble. So I think I'm gonna take Dave up on his offer. I'll see if he can come by tomorrow. Probably 20 minutes, I'll be able to tap this down or less. So with him pushing on the other side, me being able to concentrate on this side, I think it'll come together pretty quickly. So I'll worry about that tomorrow. So I'll bring you back and we'll take a look at it after Dave and I tackle it together. Okay, Dave came over this morning and he held the dolly while I went ahead and hit it with the slapper and got it worked out pretty good. He actually climbed in the trunk and pushed with his foot over here more so I could work some of this as well. We're still low over here in the middle. We still have to work on that. I really wanted to, you know, stay on the game plan of getting the perimeter done first and then move to the center. So we're just focusing on this right now. So I wiped it all down. I got some ink over here just by wiping everything. So let's go ahead and sand this. Okay, so you guys can see right away, look. So we've got a few spots now, and it's important to know that, you know, are these high or are these low, you know, what's going on. So as we look at it, you can see that they're spread out everywhere. So that means we've got the general shape of it correct, but we may have a few. Now I'm not really too worried about some of these, but there's a few that seem like they're kind of high and we want to tap them down. And so to do that, I've got this tool right here, and this came in that little PDR kit, you know, for pulling dents out with hot glue and the little puller. But it came with this little hammer, and these things are coming in really handy. It just looks like a big old black crayon, but I think it's, I don't know, it's just some sort of plastic. So what I do is I'll just take it and I'll very lightly and I'll look for anything that seems like it's a real big peak. And I'll just keep that up. Okay, so then we'll go ahead and sand it again. And I want to do a little bit more work. We've got one high spot right down here I need to pick down, and maybe one or two little ones here. And then I'm going to go ahead and wipe the whole area down and put the camera at an angle before the sun goes down here and let you guys see it all shined up with the wax and grease remover on there and see that we've got the shape of the quarter panel. It may not be as smooth as I'd like, but you know, that's what the epoxy and the body filler will help me with. So let me go ahead and pick these down, do a little cleanup here, and then I'll bring you back and we'll be looking at an angle and see how this thing came out. Okay, let's take a look at it. You can see it against the back wall there. I try to aim the camera out into the sun, but the camera adjusts too fast and it gets dark. So you can see right there, it's looking pretty good all across that bottom. Now when we move up a little bit, you can we see some of those shadows over there, you know, moving in and out. They've got a little wave to them, so we still have to work that center. But on top, we're not looking too bad. Down around that side right there. And then the area we were just working, you see that line right across there. It's all looking really good. So I'm really happy. The shape is there. It's very close to the shape of the other quarter panel. Once we get that middle worked out, I think this thing's going to be just about ready. All right, we got that oil can dent out. Pretty happy about that, and the shape is looking really nice. So it is a big panel. And it is kind of hard to do, but we are almost done with it. I think this will probably be the last video I shoot on this quarter panel. We'll revisit it, we'll take a look at it, but I think you guys are about sick of this quarter panel. I know I am. But before we wrap this up, I really wanted to give just a huge thanks to all of you for your encouragement and your support. and you know, really helping me out grow this channel. And I know a lot of you, you know, really like to see me have more views, more subscribers. So just watch the videos all the way to the end. Even if you fall asleep, just let it run to the end. Hit that like button; it really helps. And just, you know, go through all those steps, and you know, YouTube will eventually start promoting my videos out farther. I don't do gimmicks. I don't try to, you know, sucker people in with a bunch of weird clickbait or anything. It's just me working on my cars and hopefully helping you guys out on your projects as well. So we're coming along on Ruby. She's getting there little by little. I wish I was going a little faster, but I think once we get past some of this stuff, it's going to speed up quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell and drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you on the next one.